gentlemen, look at this. Shocker, another Texas Star repair video. What are the odds? I got quite a few more of these, so buckle up. Buttercups, here we go. And at least these don't look like the last remnants of the freaking stuff that comes out of your toothpaste bottle at the very end. You know, a little bloop that goes on the toothbrush. All right, so we got a Texas Star 667. And it's been a while since I've seen one of these. I gotta turn the gain down because it's so shiny. This is Scorpion DX400. Little Scorpion. This isn't paint. This is paint, but everything that you see else is silver. This is bare aluminum. Really pretty looking amp. So we got notes that came with both of these things. Let's read the notes. And awesome packing job, by the way. I wish everybody would send me their Texas Stars in little pre-made boxes like this. This is freaking awesome. I don't know where these came from. I don't really care. I think it's cool. Okay, so note for RO number 45 and 46. That's the ones that we're working on. Let's see. Texas Star 667V. Upgrade power wire to amp. Bypass driver section and upgrade. Like to see these amps run also. Wait a minute. Bypass driver section and upgrade them your way. Like to see these amps run also. Could change faceplate to 500V if possible. Well, hold on. Because of my good friend Tech9, we might actually be able to make this request happen. This is 667, 667, 667. It's a DX350, DX350, Killer B250, Sweet 16, a bilinear 4-pill DX600, a bilateral DX350. Here's a fairly decent Texas Star 500 V faceplate with a meter on it. Let's see here. There's another 500 faceplate. There's a 400 faceplate. That's a scuzzy looking 500. Another 667. Another 500. It's not too bad a shape. 667, 667, 667, 667, 667. Really scuzzy looking 500. Another 667, 667, 667, 667. Okay. So the odds are fairly good that we might be able to turn this into a DX500 for you. Or we just bypass the driver section. Anyhow, when I get a hold of you tomorrow, I'll send you pictures of what this looks like, these faceplates, and if you want to put one of these on the front of your amp, I will gladly accommodate you. Okay, so now let's talk about the Scorpion 400. I've seen a couple of these in my time. And these amps externally look like they're in really good shape. The buttons are a little worn off on this one, but Okay, Texas Star 400. Upgrade wire to amp and upgrade how you like to see these amps run. Well, that's simple as shit. Okay, we'll go with that. So let's set the faceplates aside. Let's take a quick look for here on the inside of the 667. Yeah, here we go. These are nice screws, but they're not stock. Let's see what's going on the inside. Still got the stock power wires on the back. All right. I'm liking the look of this. I'm liking the look. Oh, it's virginal. And yes, I see why you want to bypass the driver section. So this has got HG 16D08s. This has been repilled. And it's got upgraded caps in it. Somebody's had an issue with their bias somewhere here in the past. Yep, that's all been redone. Yep, it's got the MOSFET drivers in it. Okay. Well, we'll bypass that. No problems. Easy peasy. Let's go take a look at the 400. This is simple. I deserve a simple after the last one I did. Whew. That one required great, deep thoughts and a little bit of blood and perspiration and introspection and self-reflection to be able to get that last one to work right. Oh, it's mint with Toshibas. It's got the Toshibas in it. Ooh, pretty. This thing is in great condition. Okay, well, we're going to check your coax connectors. We're going to replace this coax with Teflon and power wire upgrades. This is all straightforward. Right on, right on, right on. Okay, let's start here, because this is going to be the easiest one to do. We're going to put this style coax in this amplifier over here. So we're going to remove these, replace with this, remove this, replace with this style coax. We're going to bypass a variable. We're just going to take it off here at the variable and tie that to ground. And then we're going to disconnect this, tie this to ground, and then we're going to tie this to there with a piece of coax. Yeah, power wire upgrades. I can see it done already. Okay, well, coax connectors checked out fine, which means the center conductors are still tight inside the plastic, so we don't need to replace those. Did the power wire upgrade, did all the coax upgrades, gave it a bath, washed it. Now we're going to set it aside and let it dry. So let's zoom in here real quick. Looks like a brand new amp on the inside now that we got it all washed. There is a gentleman out there that wants me to do a detailing video, which I thought, wow, that's kind of an interesting idea, where I sit down and I talk about all the different things I do to make an amplifier look good again. I guess I could give up that trade secret. I am considering it. It's very basic. So, anywho, maybe another day. Put grommets in. It's got new power wires going to it. 316DS, 316DS. We don't have to do it over here because this already got 316, but we are going to utilize 316DS going from here over to here. So, let's set this one aside, and we'll come back and we'll test it, and I'll determine if I got to put new LED lights in the front of it, which we probably will. And let's go work on the 667 now. All right. So we got the Scorpion sitting here. We've done all the mods to it and whatnot. Let's just run it through its paces real quick. Let me show this off to you. So let's turn the volume up on. We're talking with a customer. Hold on, let me slow down. Got a lot going on here today. Talking with a customer. He's going to hit these with a 30-watt radio. So we're going to do all of our testing on both of these amplifiers with a 30 to 40-watt radio. As you all know, that means I'm going to use my RCI 2950 bench radio that I have turned down that does about 28 watts on the highest voltage. So first, let's test our preamp, okay? Power on. Preamp is working. So let's turn the amp back off and let's zoom over here to our watt meters. So we're all the way down on like 12.1 volts at the moment. And we're going to run the voltage up here in a minute. So we're just going to give you a preliminary test. Let me show you what we're putting into this for drive. This is a 1,000 watt scale in peak, 1,000 in average, 5 watts slug and reverse back from the Bird 10,000 watt numbing load. About a nickel for every single time I got to say that on camera, I'd be a millionaire. Okay, dokily dokily, here we go. 1, hello, audio. 2, hello. So we're going to put about 18 watts in this thing. We're going to turn the power button on, and we're leaving the other buttons off. So just power. So we're technically on high mode. Hello, 1, 2. We're dead keying 1 watt at the moment. So 1 watt in gets us 30 watts out. Hello, 1, 2. On my side of the meter, it's looking like it's about 320. On your side of the meter, it's probably looking closer to 300. That's on high. We're going to depress the sideband button, which would be medium. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. And now we're going to complement that with the AM button. Hello, 1, 2. That is on the lowest setting that we can get, and that's at 12 volts. So now let's go ahead. I'll bring our power supply on, and we're going to bring it on to 15 volts flat, 15.1. The reason that we're going at 15.1 is because after we make it through all of our connections here, and then into the connections in the amplifier, and then down to the transistors, we have loss, drop, voltage drop. So the voltage is going to drop off a little bit, just simply due to the loss of the wire and due to the loss of the connections inside the amp. That's why on a lot of things you'll see me use incredibly large wire getting it into the cabinet to help promote the idea to you all out there in YouTuber land that maybe we need to use a little bit bigger wire going from our battery or our alternators underneath our hood back to where our amplifier is at. I would strongly suggest if somebody was to use one of these in the mobile that they would feed this with 4 gauge. Not 6, 4. You can get away with 6, 4 is better because it's bigger. Bigger is better. This one goes to 11. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so we're going to turn the amp back off. And now let's see how that's affected our drive, the voltage. Let's go back over here. Hello, 1, 2. Now from my point of view, that looks like 28 watts. From your point of view, it looks like about 20. So let's change our point of view. So now we're looking at the meter straight on. Hello, 1, 2. For all you watt chasers that are out there. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. The other thing I want you to look at is this meter, which is a 5 watt slug in reverse between the radio and the 667. There's about a foot jumper there. This is our pass-through tune, or otherwise the RF's ability to pass through the amplifier with the amplifier off. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's really, really good. Okay, so let's go back down here, and now that we've increased our voltage, we're going to see a dramatic difference in operation. We're going to punch our 2 switches out, so now we're back in high mode. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. Just short of 500 watts is what we've come to know and love and expect from this deal. Let's go ahead and punch the AM button in. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. We're seeing about 420 watts. And then we're going to drop sideband into play. Hello, 1, 2. 400 watts, and then both the sideband and AM buttons in, which would be low. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. There's 300 watts. Our input tunes are good. Now what I'm showing you with the same meter, with the same 5 watt element in reverse, is the amount of RF coming back from the amplifier. So now with the amplifier in line, this meter is showing us what we have for input reflect. So when we have the amplifier online, the RF coming from our radio, we're showing how much is coming back to the radio. And we want to have this as low as possible. That way the most goes in, makes the most power. Here we are in low. Hello, 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 hello. We'll pull the AM button out. Hello, 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 hello. That's with the sideband button depressed. Now we're going to go ahead and we'll run it in high. Hello, 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 hello. Needless to say, make a short story long, long story short, that is absolutely beautiful. Okay, so the Scorpion 400, as far as me needing to do any physical work to it, is done. What I did do is used a little tiny bit of shoe goo on the back of the meter because the meter was a little bit loose. I don't want that to get damaged. Got that we just got this glued in place. Now the tin for this is here. As we can see, we got a little bit of tiny rust here on the front, which is to be expected, and a little bit of tiny rust here in the back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out and put that in the media blast cabinet. We're going to knock that rust off, and then we're going to clear it on the inside of the cabinet, so we don't ever have to worry about this rusting on you in the future. While we have that tin out, let's look at the inside of this Texas Star. This is not bad. It's really not all that bad. What I'm going to do here, because I used a different coating on the inside of this cabinet, is we're going to do this a little differently. I'm going to media blast off all of the rust, and then we're going to come back and we're going to put black paint on the inside of this to seal the metal, so we don't ever have to worry about rust. We've got rust on this edge, and this edge, and this edge, and here. If you notice, there's a very harsh line here, and that line goes all the way around the front of the cabinet. You see that? The reason for that is there's a little bit of overhang that is taking place. So this amplifier has been someplace where there was a little bit of condensation in the air inside the vehicle or something, and it settled on the inside edge of the cabinet. Because they didn't seal the tins very well when they manufactured them, we now have a little bit of rust. Okay, got that covered. Let's hook up the 667, which is now a Texas Star 500, and let me show that off to you real quick. Okay, so here we are. Now, this was a 667. Now it's a Texas Star 500. I was even able to find a faceplate that didn't have a hole in it, because they make it a 500V, which I'm not a big fan of because that variable. Big problems. Your coax connectors are good. We didn't have to replace those, thank God. Seems like the last 4 or 5 of these I've had in here, I've had to redo the coax connectors. Everything on this works just the way it should. Preamp is working with the upgraded transistor, of course. And let's go look at this in high. Oh, another thing I wanted to point out is this resistor here. So this, according to the book, needs to be in there. If we take this out, our input SWR goes up through the roof. It's like silly high. But you get way more power out of the amplifier. I left this in here because it's per the book, and this guy wanted me to make this as per the book as I possibly could. So if he wants to go and remove this resistor to get a little bit more out of it, maybe like another 75 or 100 watts, he can, but the input reflect goes up. And we'd have to compensate for that with different tuning in the amplifier. But since we're shooting for more or less a stock setup here, we're right on track where we need to be. Okay, let me show you drive. Hit 1, 2. Exactly the same as the other amplifier because it's the same radio. We're going to start out in high. Hit 1, 2, 1, 2. Does right at 500 watts. Hit 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We're going to engage our sideband delay. Hit 380 watts. And then we're going to engage our AM button. At 1, 2, 400 watts. So, at 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Pretty straightforward. Let's go up here real quick. Let's take a quick look for at this. Pass-through tune, hello, 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 hello. Let's go ahead and we'll check our input tune on high. Hello, 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 hello. Now we're going to go down to medium. Hello, 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 hello. And then all the way down to low. Hello, 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 hello. Okay. Done. So this thing is titties as well, which is good. This makes me happy. The only thing I have left to do is de-rust the tins. So as far as you guys are concerned, give me just a second and we'll be back. A little bit of media, a little bit of paint. We are all set. This thing is ready to rock and roll. Tins cleaned up perfect. Everything looks great. Super excited. This cleaned up really well. This cabinet here, minus the one little tiny fingerprint, which nobody's ever going to see, of course. This cabinet cleaned up also very well, the tin did. So the only thing left to do is to put the tins back on the amps. Metal's all sealed, meters work, lights all work, everything works. I'll grab my nut driver. And we'll see here. I want to take this time to say thank you to my Patreon supporters, you guys. They're down there in this bottom left-hand corner. The Patreon guys are going to see this days before you guys will, probably about a week and a half. That's how far ahead I am on content right now. Most stuff makes it to the YouTube channel. Some does not. The Patreons have direct access to me, and there's a lot of other things that go on with behind-the-scenes Patreon exclusive content. They know where, who, and how, and what I'm doing almost on the daily. and what I'm working on. And they're the reason that you've been able to sit here and watch this entire video on your phone without being logged into, you know, your YouTube account without ads. There's one ad at the beginning of the video and one at the very end, but nothing in the middle of the content. And that is important to me. I cannot stand the YouTube ads. So I just try to point that out in every video. If you have the opportunity or the ability or have the desire to come support us over here on this channel by giving a little bit of love on the Patreon side of things, I really do appreciate it. The Patreons are what really make this all possible for all of us to enjoy this, because you cannot make it on the YouTube alone. And I refuse to take money or ad money from like Raid Shadow Legends or some totally BS game platform that I don't have any time to play for or play on or enjoy or utilize or do. So you can't do YouTube without having a little bit of help, and the Patreon way was the way I chose to go, and I want to say thank you to them. So as I put this last screw in the cabinet, I want to say thank you to Penta Labs. They sure helped me out this week on a big deal I'm working on for a friend of mine. I want to say thank you to Excess Power. They helped me out this week on yet a separate, completely different project. They helped me out with something I'm doing over there. Our friends over at Siglent for hooking us up with the great spectrum analyzers, which I used the holy snot out of earlier this last week. MechMan for powering my truck and a bunch of others that are in the radio world right now. I want to say thank you, Bird and Coaxial Dynamics, for allowing us to have somewhat accurate forms of RF measurement. And the other thing I want to point out is I'm a proud member of the 4-inch club. This is a 4-inch Crescent made by Crescent. You can buy these on Amazon. They're about $8-9. I've come to carry one of these in my pocket now full time. I was with a friend of mine in Texas here a few weeks ago, and he had one of these, and we are proud members of the 4-inch club. This thing is just about as useful as the pocket on a shirt. I'm telling you. Some good stuff. You guys might want to try this out. On that note, I'm going to say, gentlemen, I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for tuning in and following along on yet another Texas Star video. I know that they're becoming numerous and many and back to back, but this is what people have sent in for me to repair and to work on. So I'm very slowly working my way through it. We are officially over halfway by a lot. This is RO's number 45 and 46. On that note, I'm going to say, gentlemen, I thank every single one of you out there in YouTube land. We'll see you on the next one. Click, click, click.